to Weeats, the marijuana review show where I help you make sense of your dispensary. But today, that's not what we're going to do. Today, instead, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do these look familiar to you? Have you seen these carts out and about? Have you maybe purchased one? Maybe vaped one yourself out there? And you can be from the West Coast, you can be from the East Coast. Hell, I've even heard of some of these guys making it overseas. And we are talking, of course, about the biggest of all of the black market cartridges out there. We're talking about exotic carts, Mario carts, Supreme carts, cereal carts, and Dank vapes. Those are some of the biggest black market carts out there. And they have proliferated all across the U.S. And then some, from my understanding. So, how did these guys get so big? Are these things safe? I have a lot of people asking me, should I be ingesting these things? Where are they coming from? Who is actually Mr. Exotic Cart? Who is making this? And that, guys, is what I am hoping to answer for you today. Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, and that is the safety of these carts. And we'll come back to this as well. But guys, yes, these carts are not regulated. These are black market cartridges. These have not been looked at by any government body, any regulatory body. These are totally illegal. So take that, under advisement. You're going to see some fake lab testing results on most of these packages. I would assume in every case that is not true. And you're very likely to probably not even get the strain that is necessarily listed on the package. In addition, the THC quality is going to be, or quantity is going to be way lower than what's advertised on that package. Usually it's advertised at something like 80 to 95%. Most of these test at around 60 to 65%. So again, you are taking your safety into your own hands by ingesting one of these. So just how did these carts become so ubiquitous? How did these bargain basement, black market, frankly, gaudily designed, all of these things, all of the packaging is pretty juvenile and terrible. How did they become so ubiquitous? How did they end up in Manitoba? How did they end up in Milwaukee? How did they end up in Maine? What are they doing there? Well, the answer is really sort of twofold, and the biggest sort of reason is just how cheap that they are. And they are very cheap. You can find all of these brands out here in Southern California for between $10 to $15 a gram wholesale. And because of that, a lot of people see arbitrage opportunity and they'll purchase up a bunch of these, ship them out east and make a tidy little profit where they sell for probably, $40 to $50 a gram. So that's how they're spread so far. That's how they're all over the place. But how did they get so big to begin with? How did they amass such a following that's going to be able to spread them out all over the place? Just how big are these companies? And that, guys, is a very sort of surprising answer, or surprising reason why these are everywhere. And I'll explain it to you in just a second. Actually, as an explanation, it's pretty simple. Exotic carts, Dank vapes, cereal carts, Supreme, I'm sure I'm forgetting one in that list. They don't exist. They're not real. They don't actually exist. There is no real exotic carts. There is no real Dank vapes. There is no real Supreme carts. They don't exist. They not somebody you're buying them from. There's not Papa Panopticon exotic carts out there producing them all. That is not how it works. How it does work is pretty surprising. So, I would not contest that there probably was an original exotic carts at some time, just like there was an original Dank Vapes and there was an original Supreme carts, although that one's a little bit trickier because, they're just stealing somebody's logo and brand right off the bat. But what almost certainly happened here is a marketing guy out there, or an entrepreneurial guy out there, got a buddy to make up a bunch of gross looking images, and he decided to sell a bunch of vape pens for cheap, which you can do. It's very easy to make those cartridges. And he started his exotic vapes. This is just an example. I don't really know. The guy started exotic vapes. It did very well. The little flashy packages with their grotesque images caught people's attention, and they sold a bunch. So that allowed him to, especially without having to pay taxes, without having to follow regulations, without having to get things tested, they were able to grow very, very quickly and spread and spread and spread. But that still would not explain how big these companies are, and it would not explain why they don't actually exist. The reason they don't exist is because the reason that the company did so well, the reason it was able to spread so fast so quickly, is the same thing that is the same reason it doesn't exist anymore. We're not in the real sort of state that you would assume. All of these companies exist purely as assets that you can purchase on any number of online retailers. You can find a Mario Kart set on Alibaba. You can find a whole kit for cereal carts, where they'll sell you the both the tank and the packaging, and that's all it is at this point. Is people purchasing the packaging, the exotic cart packaging, and purchasing the generic 510 tanks, of which you can purchase a bunch of different varieties, and there are several websites that make it very easy. eBay, Alibaba, what's it called? DHgate. So yes, you can find these online. Again, all of those brands can be purchased through any of your favorite shady online retailers. You can buy the cartridge, you can buy the marketing materials, you can buy the packaging. All you have to do is supply the oil yourself, which is what happens. Exotic carts or dank vapes are really just the oil of either the dispensary that you're purchasing it from, or the dealer that picked this all up, or the guy that the dealer's from who bought a bunch of cereal carts online and decided to whip them up. Because again, it's not easy. It's actually pretty easy to make the distillate, and you can fill the empty cartridges, and you can just take a ready-made brand, something that somebody's already done the work for you, and buy your supplies for super cheap and join that market yourself. And you can be part of a big brand already. Why start something new when you can take over exotic carts? You can buy a starter kit online, fill it with your own oil, sell it to a dispensary, and you're good to go. You're now Mario Karts. I know a lot of people are going to say that's not true. That's not true. You can go to, you can go to their social media. You can see the Instagram. That's not true. A lot of these people are unscrupulous, want to claim that they're the original of this, that, or the other, but really they're just doing it for marketing purposes, and there's no repercussions. You can claim yourself to be the original Dank Vapes, and who's going to stop you? There is no other real Dank Vapes out there. There's no legal entity called Dank Vapes. So you can be the original Dank Vapes because you say that you are, and that you buy their stuff on, or you buy the, printed up stuff online, and you are good to go. So really all of these companies are just producing, well, they're all not companies. None of them are companies. They're all just assets to be purchased online. And that really shows that you can't really trust anything that goes in those cartridges because they're made by anybody. Anybody can purchase those assets to make them. So my ultimate sort of verdict on whether to purchase these carts or whether to keep using them, it's an interesting one because they are very affordable. You know, you can get them for like $15 here in Southern California if you know where to look. And while they are certainly not 90 to 95% potent, they will get you high. There's certainly THC in there. But then again, you have no idea where that cart came from. So I would suggest to people, if you're going to buy the cartridges, ignore whatever the brand is because it doesn't matter. It's just whatever that person decided to buy off Alibaba and fill with their own oil. Trust either the dispensary or your dealer, and hopefully they will know that the person they purchased from is using good, solid material, or is using, weed that isn't ridden with pesticide, isn't cutting it with something dangerous. That's going to be your best line of defense because the brand doesn't mean anything. The brand means nothing. It's really about who put the stuff in there. And for that, hopefully, again, your dispensary or your dealer knows the guy or they did it themselves and will be able to reassure you that it's good stuff inside. So, guys, that is really going to do it for this whole sort of assessment here on all of these crazy carts out there. Again, I tell you, be cautious. Are they dangerous? Maybe. They're illegal drugs. There's going to always be some inherent danger involved in illegal drugs because these are, again, not regulated. So they are illegal. There's always going to be some inherent danger. But if you're into illegal drugs, you should know that there's always danger with what you do. And actually, the thing I find most objectionable about these cartridges is not actually what's inside of the cartridge. It's actually the stuff on the outside. It's the packaging. All of these, Dank Vapes, Exotic, Mario Kart, Supreme, all that packaging is obviously designed to encourage kids to purchase it or get interest in it. You know, Exotic's got their Rick and Morty-esque psychedelic, Supreme, super big brand, cereal carts, all those, dumb mascots. As much as I love weed and as much as I like people to enjoy their weed, we should not be encouraging kids to do it. And we should especially not be encouraging kids to partake in these carts that have not been regulated or vetted by anybody. Because, again, we just don't know what's in them. And really the unfortunate truth is that these things are just going to keep getting made and they're just going to keep being sold in droves and in waves until weed is legal for everybody, until it's accessible for everybody, and really until it's affordable. Until that point, I don't see this black market abating. It's just so much cheaper than the alternative, and people, when it's cheaper, are always going to take a risk. So, I would ultimately tell you guys, avoid, but that's me. And that, friends, is going to do it for this episode here on Weeats. Before I go here, guys, I wanted to actually share with you a little cherry on top, something that you can enjoy through your week that isn't necessarily weed related. This one will definitely be better with weed, and it's probably the third or fourth time I've cherried on top something very similar to this. Because today, guys, the Oculus Quest just came out. The standalone VR headset. I just opened it up, just got it set up, pulled it off the charger to show you guys. I'm going to go take a massive edible, eat a massive edible, wait for this to finish charging, and then dive right into some Beat Saber and Robo Recall tonight. If you haven't tried VR yet, the Quest, I think, is the system to go for. $400, give it a shot. I think you guys are going to like it. That's going to do it then for this episode here on Weeats. We'll call it an episode. And guys, for the first time ever, I think I'm going to debut our real logo. This has been the real shit. Thanks for watching.